made, like we'll go through those like real case scenarios and to make it understand really well. So like 2 or 3 the videos I have prepared like 2 or 3 videos of like the real case scenarios of pushing one of the a leg press and like lifting a weight through a pulley, and there's one other video that I have to make. Like those videos are there, and we'll go through those and like take a better understanding how the the physics works in force, right? Okay, so come to the theory note. So still don't have the right. Abhi පටන් ගමු හරි. අයියේ can I have like full screen? පුතේ අවතේ අපි ඉන්න නම්බර් එකකට ගෙනාව නම් ඇති. තව කට්ටිය ආවොත් ගේන්න එනවා නම් ගේන්න ඒගොල්ලන්ටත් එක්ක. රයන් on the way නම් එයාටත් එක්ක එහෙම ගේන්න. වැඩිපුර දෙකක් තුනක් අරගෙන විතර හරි. හරි. Right. So first thing to discuss is about the the acceleration and the resultant force. Right. That when two forces are acting on an object in a either horizontal or vertical plane, the acceleration depends on the resultant force. Resultant force එක මත තමයි acceleration එක depend වෙන්නේ. That we take in two axes, right? එකක් x axis එකේ අනිත් එක y axis එකේ separately. Not the two axes together, but separately in either x axis or either y axis. මොකක් හරි forces more than 2 act කරනවා නම් ඒ forces වල resultant force එක තමයි acceleration එකට cause එක වෙන්නේ. And mass, like if we take the mass of the object is constant, acceleration affects the resultant force affects the acceleration. අපි simply ගත්තොතින් හිතන්න හිතන්න මෙන්න මේ වගේ object එකක there are like this is 10 kilogram and මේ පැත්තට 20 newton sack කරනවා, මේ පැත්තට අපි හිතමු 10 newton sack කරනවා කියලා. එතකොට මේකේ resultant එක එන්නේ කොහොමද? Deduction නේ. You have to deduct the two forces to get the resultant. එතකොට 20 එකකින් 10 deduct කළා තමයි resultant force එක එන්නේ. And resultant force will be towards where? Towards the greater force. හරි. හැමතිස්සෙම greater force එකේ පැත්තට තමයි resultant එක එන්නේ. එතකොට මෙන්න මේ පැත්තට එනවා resultant එක නේ. That is 10 newtons. And this 10, now the mass is constant නේ. So this resultant force will decide what is the acceleration of the object now, right? So for that we put sigma f equals ma, right? Sigma f equals ma. So sigma f is what? The resultant force. That is the force that we put for the the single force that we use for instead of the few of the other forces that is acting on the same object, right? එතකොට මේක කීයක් එනවද දැන්? 10 newtons එනවා resultant force එක. Mass එක 10 kilograms, that we have to find the acceleration, right? So the acceleration should be equal to 1 ms minus 2 here. Get it? Likewise, if the forces are acting now here the forces are acting opposite to each other. So the resultant is a deduction. And what if the forces are acting towards the same direction? It's the addition, right? The addition of the forces gives the resultant force. And in some cases like the motion or the forces are acting here are in the horizontal plane, right? Some forces can act in the vertical plane as well. Vertical plane එකෙත් මේ විදිහටම උඩටයි යටටයි forces තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකෙත් ওই විදිහම තමයි. හරි. ඒතර සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි basically we discuss in two planes. What are the two planes? One is the x axis, right? The other one is the y axis, or the horizontal plane and the vertical plane. ඔය දෙකේ තමයි අපි forces ගැන කතා කරන්නේ. හරි. ඒ දෙකේ නැති එකක් ආවොතින් අපි ඒ දෙකට මොනා කරගන්නවද? break down කරගන්නවා. නේ. අපි breaking down into components කියලා කතා කරන්නේ. break down කරගන්න. Right. Now make it simple. Make it simple. Now it will start very simple, but you know, when getting through the theories and stuff, it will get much more harder. Yeah. Not for them? Are they have it?
Yeah.
Are they have it already? Then. Right? එතකොට මේකේ අර කියන්නේ මේ acceleration හොයන එක පොඩි එකක්. හරි. Acceleration is it single medium? No. Not single medium. No. Now check the tubes if they are single medium sometimes. No, right? They are all English medium. Then fine. Right? හරිද? හරියට හම්බුන්නේ නැහැ නේ. මොනවද මිසින් උනේ? ඕඩර්ලි එකද? මේකද? එතකොට බලන්න මේ ඇක්සලරේෂන් එක දැන් පොඩි එකක්. හරි. හැබැයි ඉස්සරහට යනකොට මේ ඇක්සලරේෂන් එක ආපහු අපිට ඕන වෙනවා ඔබ්ජෙක්ට්ස් වල ටෙන්ෂන් එක හොයන්න අර මූවිං සිස්ටම්ස් වල ටෙන්ෂන් එක හොයන්න එහෙම ඇක්සලරේෂන් ඕන වෙනවා. හරි. ඒතර මේක මුලදී එක පොඩි කෑල්ලක් විතරයි. හැබැයි අගහරියට යනකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? ලොකු ගානක පොඩි කෑල්ලක් විතරයි. හරි. ඒ හින්දා මේවා මුලදී ලේසි. හැබැයි ටික ටික ඇඩ් වෙනකොට මේක ටික ටික අමාරු වෙනවා. ඒ හින්දා මුලින්දම්ම you have to get the thorough knowledge, right? Okay, so you got this, right? Right. So now come to the workbook. Now this is, you know, the theory book, resultant force. If the forces act towards the same direction, then the resultant force is the addition of those two forces. Directions of the forces is the direction of the resultant force, right? Then come to the second one. If two forces acting opposite to each other, then the difference of the forces is the resultant force. The direction of the larger force is the direction of the resultant force, right? Those are very simple and easy. And now you have to get the acceleration, right? Right. Now come to the workbook. Take the workbook out. Find the resultant force, direction and acceleration, right? So I'll do the first one. So simply how you find this is like two of the forces acting toward the same direction. So you have to put sigma F equals me, right? Sigma F means the resultant force equals mass into acceleration. Now the sigma F is 150 plus 50 is how much? 200 newtons equals mass is 50 kilograms, and you have to find the acceleration. Acceleration is how much? 4 ms minus 2, and you have to write the direction, right? Now the direction of the resultant force, you should put it here somewhere in the equation. Now where should be the direction? From left to right, that we write it like this with the two arrows. On the top of sigma F, two arrows will ලියුවා නම් ඇති. හරි. මේක තමයි direction එක. This is acceleration. Now do these three questions really fast in the workbook. මේ තුන කරන්න. A force of 20 Newton acts on an object of mass 5 kilograms as shown in the figure. Its horizontal and vertical components are respectively. Isn't it this? Oh no, that one. Shown in the figure. Its horizontal and vertical components are. Oh, ये वही आता है. अबे angle की दी नहीं. You have to have the angle. Theta नहीं. Theta 3 नहीं मैं भी figure. Me mark those things. I will send all the figures together. Do the math really quick. Can you hello? Okay. Come. Go to class. තව එකෙක් ආවා. පායිනවනේ. මං ගහට එනවා. So, your first try is it? You're 2026, right? Good. Did you go to any like ET classes? Okay, go ahead. Sakya. Did you go to any SFT classes? Malagasy. He's doing single medium. I'm fine. Good thing you started now, at least. Force වල පටන් ගන්න නැත්නම් මේ කැලේ තමයි ඉතින් ගොඩක් physics part එකට කොට එන්නේ. You don't want it now. Done? Ivaradhu. Finish? Ivaradhu. Right. Okay. So what is the answer for the second question? Now here sigma f should be equal to ma and the acceleration is towards the left because the greater force is 600. Now the resultant should be 500 newtons, mass is 100 into acceleration, so the acceleration should be 5 ms minus 2, is it? 5 ms minus 2, right? Then to the third one, they are acting opposite, so deduction should be there. The resultant is 500 minus 100. You have the tubes? Got it? Workbook again. So sigma f should be acting towards the greater force, which is 500, and sigma f is here 400 newtons equals mass is 100 kilograms into acceleration e, and the acceleration is 4 ms minus 2, right? And what about this one? Sigma f equals to ma, right? And the direction of the force should be towards left because all the two forces are acting towards the same direction, which is left. And the resultant is the addition, that is 150 newtons equals mass is 300 kilograms into acceleration is a, so it's 1 over 2, right? A equals 1 over 2 ms minus 2, right? 1 over 2 ms minus 2. O 0.5 ms minus 2, that's fine. Right? Got all the answers? Correct? Yeah, fine, good. Right. Then come to the second part of the the workbook, right? So second part is about the resultant force when two forces are acting perpendicular to each other. Now tell me what happens when two forces are acting perpendicular to each other. Like in the first one, the forces were either were acting in the same plane, either in the x-axis or in the y-axis only. එක axis එකක විතරයි. Now the forces are acting in two axes. What are the two axes? One is y-axis, the other one is x-axis. So forces are acting in two axes, right? So what happens to the resultant force now? How the resultant force works now? And where's the direction? Like what is the direction of the resultant force now? Where does it go? Yeah, in between the two forces, right? එතකොට යන්නේ in between two forces තමයි resultant එක යන්නේ. Think let's right. Think something like this, right? Now this is an object. Now two forces are acting here. One is acting upwards, which is in the y direction. The other one is acting in the x-axis. We'll take these two forces as Fx and Fy, right? So how does the resultant force work? Any pen or something? Give me pen, a small pen, pencil. It's fine. Yeah. Right. So how now the resultant force works? Now I'm going to take these two forces acting perpendicular to each other, right? One is I'm trying to take the force towards Fx direction. The other force I'm taking towards the Fy direction, and two of the forces are now going to act at once, right, on the object. So the resultant, now we have to find the direction of the resultant force. Afterwards, we have to find the the magnitude or the value. What is the resultant, like the size of the resultant force as well, right? මුලින් බලමු direction එක නේ විදිය. මම මේ force එක මෙහෙට අරන් යනවා. මේ force එක උඩට අරන් යනවා. හරි. බලන්න. Where does it go? It goes in between two of the forces, right? මෙහෙට එකක් ගියා, උඩට එකක් ගියා. දෙකම එකට ආවන් පස්සේ මොකද උනේ? මේක in between තමයි ගියේ. මේක එතකොට R කියලා අපිට consider කරන්න පුළුවන් resultant force එකකින් හින්දා, right? හරි. එතකොට forces දෙකක් perpendicularly act කරනකොට resultant force එක යන්නේ ඒ forces දෙකට මැද්දේ නේ. resultant force එක යන්නේ ඒ forces දෙකට මැද්දේ. Now the thing what we have to do is we have to find the value of the R. We have already the, like if the Fx and Fy forces are given, we have to find the value of resultant force. How do we do it? That's the next question. How do you do it? How do you find the resultant force when the two forces are given? Yes. Simply by putting Pythagoras. Now we have to find a way to get the resultant force. හිතන්න, now there is practical that they do this in a practical way. අපි හිතමු මෙහෙම Newton's bow scale එකක් අරගෙන මේකට දානවා forces දෙකක්. හරි. forces දෙකක් apply කරනවා. මෙහෙම එක force එකක් ගන්නවා. මේක එක direction එකට act කරනවා. And there's another force acting perpendicular to this. එතන මෙතන angle එක 90 degrees වල තමයි තියෙන්නේ. හරි. මෙන්න මෙහෙම තියෙන්නේ. දැන් මෙතන 90 degrees force එක. දැන් මේකේ මම forces හිතන්න මේකේ මම හිතන්න මම මෙතනට 3 newtons දාලා මෙතනට 4 newtons දැම්මොතින් මෙයාට එන්නේ 5 newtons. හරි. ඊට පස්සේ මම මෙයාට 8 newtons දැම්මොතින් හරි. මෙයාට 8 newtons දැම්මොතින් මෙයාට 6 newtons දැම්මොත් මෙයාට එන්නේ 10 newtons. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ practical එකක්. හරි. Practically if I do this මම මේ දාන 4 newtons දාලා 3 newtons දැම්මොත් මෙතනට එන්නේ 5 newtons. මෙතනට 8 දාලා මෙතනට 6 දැම්මොත් මෙතනට එන්නේ 10 newtons. හිතන්න මම මෙතනට 12 දාලා මෙයාට 9 දැම්මොත් මෙතනට එනවා කීයද? 15. Why does it happen that way? මෙහෙම වෙන්නේ because they are all Pythagoras triplets and 3 of the forces are acting like in a Pythagoras or a rectangle නේ. අර Pythagoras triplet එකක් විදිහට තමයි මේක ලැක් කරන්නේ. කියන්නේ forces දෙකක් perpendicularly තිබ්බහම මෙතනින් පෙන්වන්නේ මොකද්ද? resultant force එකේ direction එක. මේ තියෙන්නේ 2 of the perpendicular forces. මේ තියෙන්නේ ඒ දෙන්නගෙන් එන resultant force එක. හරි. ඒතර forces දෙක perpendicularly act කරනකොට හැමතිස්සෙම එක්කෝ 3 4 5 විදියට පෙන්වන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ Pythagoras triplet එකක් එන විදියට. එහෙම නැත්නම් 6 8 10 විදියට එන්නේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් 9 12 15 විදියට එන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ තුන් දෙනා වැඩ කරන්නේ හැමතිස්සෙම Pythagoras triplet එකක් විදියට. හරි. එතකොට බලන්න අපි මෙයාව ගත්තොත් හරි මේ තුන් දෙනා මම මෙයාව ගන්නම් ෆෝස් එක P විදියට මෙයා Q විදියට ගන්නම් හරි මේ තියෙන්නේ ෆෝසස් තුනන්නේ මේක R කියලා ගන්න හරි මේ තුන් දෙනාව අපිට අර විදිහේ ෆෝමියුලේෂන් එකකට දාගන්න නම් හරි දැන් මේකේ මෙයා Pythagoras triplet එකක් විදියට එක් කරාට මේගොල්ලෝ ට්‍රයැන්ගල් එකක දින්නේ නෑනේ ඒකද මේ තුන් දෙනාව අපි දාගන්න ඕන ට්‍රයැන්ගල් එකකට for the ease of calculation right මේ තුන් දෙනා ට්‍රයැන්ගල් එකකට දාගන්නකොට ඔයාලට ලේසින් වැඩේ තමයි කරන්න තියෙන්නේ මේ තියෙන එක ෆෝස් එකක් අරගෙන මෙන්න මෙතන ඉස්සරහෙන් දාගන්නවා එතකොට ට්‍රයැන්ගල් එක හැදෙනවා හරි එතකොට මේකට අපි කියන ෆෝස් ට්‍රයැන්ගල් එක හරි ෆෝස් ට්‍රයැන්ගල් එක හදා ගන්න පුළුවන් මෙයා උස්සලා මෙතන තිබ්බහම එයා උස්සලා එතනින් තිබ්බහම වෙනස් වෙන්න බෑ දෙකක් force එකක වෙනස් වෙන්න බැරි දෙකයි. One is direction. Direction can't be changed. The other one is magnitude. Magnitude also can't be changed. මෙයා උස්සලා මෙතන තිබ්බහම does the direction change? No, it's still upwards. Does the size change? The magnitude? No, it's the same size. හරි. එතකොට මම මේක මෙහෙම උස්සලා තිබ්බහම මෙතනින් මෙතනට එනවා Q force එක මෙතන තියෙනවා P force එක දැන් resultant එක ඉන්නේ මෙන්න මේ විදිහට. දැන් අපිට හැදුණා මොකද්ද? triangle එක. අපි මේකට කියනවා force triangle එක කියලා. හරි. force triangle එකක් හැදුණා. දැන් මේ triangle එක අපිට පාවිච්චි කරලා අපිට මේ R වල value එක calculate කරන්න පුළුවන් like a normal triangle. හරි. normal triangle එකක් වගේ අපිට මේක calculate කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒතර මේකේ length එකකින් පෙන්නනවා මොකද්ද? force එකේ magnitude එක. අපි එතකොට 1 cm equals 1 Newton කියලා ගත්තොත් මම මේකට දාගන්නවා 3 Newton of a force මෙතනට. මෙතන දානවා 4 Newton of a force. අපිට ඕන R එක හොයාගන්න. එහෙනම් මේකේ මම මේක දැන් geometrically draw කරොත් දැන් මෙතන තියෙන්නේ actual scenario එක. මම මේක දැන් මේ draw කරගෙන හදන්නේ. මේක draw කරොත් 1 cm equals 1 Newton කියලා ගත්තොත් P force එකට centimeters කීයක් එනවද? 3 එනවා. Q force එකට centimeters කීයක් එනවා? 4 එනවා නේ. එහෙනම් R වලට කීයක් එයිද? 5 එයි. හරි. එහෙනම් මේ තියෙන forces ඇත්තටම Pythagoras triplet එකක් වගේ නැත්නම් rectangle එකක තියෙන side lengths වගේ act කරනවා. ඒ හින්දා ඔයාට ඕනම perpendicular forces දෙකක් ඔයාට මොකක් හරි perpendicular forces දෙකක් ආවොත් මේ වගේ ඒ forces දෙකේ resultant force එක හොයන්න simply කරන්න තියෙන්නේ මොකද්ද? Pythagoras පාවිච්චි කරන්න. හරි. Pythagoras පාවිච්චි කරනවා. එතකොට මේ දෙන්න Pythagoras වල adjacent එකයි opposite එකයි විදිහට වැඩ කරනකොට resultant force එක hypotenuse එක විදිහට වැඩ කරනවා. right? එහෙනම් මේකේ අපි simple equation එකක් හදා ගන්න පුළුවන් මොකද්ද? R square which is the resultant force equals P square plus Q square. So simply what you have to remember is like if you are given two forces acting perpendicular to each other and they are asking to find the resultant force, the value of the resultant force, what do? You put Pythagoras, right? Simply that's the thing, right? Okay, so now come to the workbook. Right, now here the two of the forces are given, right? The other thing you should know is here that in the first drawing that I took this Fy force to here නේ අපිට එහෙම උස්සලා ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේ දැන් මේකේ තියෙන side lengths ඔයාලට එන්න පුළුවන් different විදිහට. Example forces මේ විදිහට එන්නත් පුළුවන්. Perpendicular. මෙහෙම එන්නත් පුළුවන්. What if two forces were like this? How do you find the resultant force, direction of the resultant force? දැන් කොහොමද resultant එකේ direction එක ගන්නේ? ඔයාට ඕන මෙන්න මේ force එක අරගෙන මෙතනින් තියාගන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? මෙහෙම තමයි යන්නේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් ලේසි විදියක් තියෙනවා මොකද්ද? මේ විදියට ආවොතින් forces. What you have to do is you have to check if the forces are acting head to tail. මෙයාගේ head එක අනිත් force එකේ tail එක පැත්තටද යන්නේ කියලා බලන්න. If the forces are acting head to tail, the resultant should be tail to head. Simple as that, right? And if something like this came, A, B, C, now what is the direction of the resultant force? Forces are acting head to tail. Yeah. Where to where? Yeah. So where's the tail? Where's the head? Forces acting head to tail. And the resultant should act tail to head. Where to where? A to C. The resultant should be from A to C. Yeah? Yes. Right, now it's fine. Now come to the workbook. Do the, 3 questions. Right? Find the directions. Magnitude එක හොයන්න. Shiny and Sugada. Shiny, can you hear me? Either raise your hand or put a message. If you can hear well and you can understand well. Yes, okay. Good. If you're not sure with the magnitude and the direction, use a pencil. Better. Yes. Put that. In? Who to tell? මොකේද පුතේ? again? නැහැ. ඒ තියෙන්නේ ඔයා එන්න ඕන මෙතන ලැබෝරටරි එකක් තියෙන්නේ පුතා කොයි හරි දෙන්න කියනවා ඒ කියන්නේ ආපිකෝ එක පැත්තටද ඒක ඔය ක්‍රොසින් එක පහු කරාද ක්‍රොසින් එක තියෙන්නේ පෙඩස්ට්‍රියන් ක්‍රොසින් එක ඔයා මට පේනවා පුතේ නෑ මෙහි ඉස්සරහ බලන්න උඩ ඔහෙ නෙමෙයි ඉස්සරහ hari I use the lift come to the third floor use the lift come to the third floor okay Yasna is coming finally right done finish
direction as this, so we have to draw a triangle.
That is fine. Now here this is different. Now I said like if the force is acting head to tail, the repulsion should go from tail to.
Okay.
Yeah. Haridabase, come here. Nice. Good. Fine. Thank you. Come. Yeah, another musician as well, right? So you play piano. Nice, no? Done? Right. I'm going to keep this. Finish. Now there's another girl wanting to join, but she has a class. But it's better if she can join here, ne? Let's see. Because they are here in Tani. Colors are tagging here, Tani. Same issues here with the piano. That's fine. Right, shall we discuss this? Listen, now we were discussing the resultant forces when the forces are in a single plane. If the forces are acting toward the same direction, we took the resultant as the addition. I think you have learned these things, right? If the forces are acting oppositely, we take the deduction, right? And that resultant force decides the acceleration of the object if the mass is constant, that we discussed. And now we are discussing how the resultant force acts when two of the forces are perpendicular to each other, right? So when two of the forces are perpendicular to each other, it acts, it's like in a Pythagoras triangle, right? A rectangular manner, right? So in this scenario, what we do is to find the to get the value of the resultant force, what we do is we put Pythagoras. And to find the direction, if the forces are like this, simply it goes in the middle like this, right? And to find the the resultant force, we use R square equals P square plus Q square. So P square is 4 square, this is 3 square, 16 plus 9 is 25, so R square is 25, R is square root of 25, which is 5 newtons, right? Now this is the answer for this. And when we come to this one, see, the forces are acting perpendicular but the directions are different. In this case, I said like if the forces are acting head to tail, the head of this force is acting towards the tail of the other force, right? If the forces are acting head to tail, the resultant should be acting from tail to head. Now the resultant goes from tail to head like this, right? So you have to find the resultant here, R. So how do you do it? You put Pythagoras, right? R square equals P square plus Q square, right? So what is P square here? It is 8 newtons, so 8 square. Q is 6, 6 square is equal to R square. 8 square is 64, 6 square is 36, so it's altogether 100. Now R should be at the root of 100, right? Which is 10 newtons. Simple, right? Those are simple. Now come to this one, right? So two of the forces are acting perpendicular but the directions are different, like the previous one. Forces are acting head to tail, right? Head to tail. So the resultant should be from tail to head, like this. And the resultant's value should be R equals R square equals P square plus Q square. Now P is 12 square. Usually we take the P for the x-axis and the Q for the y-axis. Now this is 12 square plus Q is what? 9 square. So 12 square is 144 plus 9 square is 81. Now R equals, the addition is what? 225, right? R equals root like the root of 225, which is 15 newtons, right? 15 newtons. Got it? Now that's how you find the resultant force, putting Pythagoras when the forces are acting perpendicular. That's simple, right? Right. So the next thing is you have to find the direction of the force as well, right? You have to find the direction of the force as well. Now what is the direction of the force and how do you find the direction of the force is the next question, right? Now forces are acting like this, you have to find the direction of the force, right? So I'm gonna take another page, right? So forces are acting like this. Now this is the Q force and this is the P force and they are perpendicular to each other. Resultant should go somewhere in between, right? Something like this, right? Now this is the resultant, and what is the direction of the resultant? Direction means the angle it acts from the x-axis, away from the x-axis, right? ඒ කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ x-axis එකත් එක්ක මෙයා හදන angle එකට තමයි අපි resultant එකේ direction එක කියලා කියන්නේ. දැන් මේකේ හැටියට නම් මෙන්න මෙයා තමයි direction එක වෙන්නේ resultant force එකේදී නේ. resultant force එකේ direction එක වෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ angle එක. Now let's take it as theta, right? දැන් අපි theta වල value එක සාමාන්‍යයෙන් හොයනකොට දාන්නේ trigonometric ratios. Trigonometric ratio වලත් theta angle එක හොයනකොට දාන්න ඕන මොකද්ද? tan values දාන්න. ඔක අපි coordinates වලට එහෙම එනකොට වැඩිපුර කතා කරනවා අපි slope එක හොයන්නේ කොහොමද? tan theta විදිහට තමයි හොයන්නේ. y coordinates දෙක difference එක divide කරන x coordinate දෙක difference එක ඒක tan theta. That is also tan theta. මේකෙත් අපි මේ angle එකක් හොයනකොට හොයන්නේ හැමතිස්සෙම දාන්නේ මොකද්ද? tan theta. දැන් මෙහෙම තීදි දාන්න බෑ. You have to prepare the triangle, right? මේ force එක අරගෙන තියන්න පුළුවන් මෙතනින්. එතකොට හැදෙනවා මෙන්න මේ වගේ මෙයා Q එක මෙයා P එක එතකොට මෙයා R එකනේ. This is the R force. Angle again මෙතන theta. Now the angle's value is what? Tan theta, right? Angle's value should be tan theta. Now what is tan theta here? Opposite over adjacent. So opposite is Q. Adjacent is P. Now tan theta should equal to then what? Q over P, right? Now let's think that there were values here like this. මොකක් හරි values ටිකක් තිබ්බා කියලා හිතන්න. හිතන්න මේ දෙන්නගේ values තිබ්බයි කියලා මෙයා 2 මෙයා 5 වගේ තිබ්බයි කියලා හිතන්න. දැන් මෙයාගේ අපිට ඕන tan theta හොයන්න. කොහොමද tan theta හොයන්නේ? Tan theta equals 2 over 5, right? 2 over 5. And we want the theta. If we want the theta, what we do is, අපි theta isolate කරනවා. එතකොට එන්නේ 2 over 5 වල tan inverse එක. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයා 2 over 5 divide කරලා ඒ එන value එක කැල් එකේ tan inverse එක tan -1 කියන ගැහුවනම් ඔයාට මේකේ angle එක හරියටම කීයද කියලා එනවා. හරි. angle එක හෙරෙටම එකපාර ගන්න පුළුවන්. හරි. එහෙනම් මේකෙත් theta should equal to Q over P tan inverse, right? Now you don't have enough space to find the tan inverse. Either you take a piece of a paper and do the calculation there and like attach it to there. I have asked you to bring the a highlighter and a sticky note, like a podi kotu sticky notes thing. A sticky note එකයි highlight එකයි ළඟ තියාගන්න හැමතිස්සෙම. හරි. ඒ දෙක ඕන වෙනවා අපිට නිතරම. හරි. Can you find the the direction of the resultant force as well of the 4 of the questions, 3 of the questions real quick? කොලේක හදා tan theta equals Q over P. දාලා හොයන්න බලන්න direction එක. So without calculating the Pythagoras formula, can't we write 5 Newton's Pythagoras triplet? Now that's the thing. That's a good question. Now I have asked the people to remember now she's asking a question now. Sir, without calculating the Pythagoras formula, can't we write 5 Newton's Pythagoras triplet like 3, 4, 5? Now that's true that you can put it like that. Even I have asked you to remember the Pythagoras triplets. There are like common Pythagoras triplets mostly used in the exam papers, මොකද හැමතිස්සෙම පාවිච්චි කරන Pythagoras triplet set එකක් තියෙනවා. So if you remember the Pythagoras triplet, you can easily get the answer. But that is only for the MCQs, right? Only for the MCQs. Because when it comes to structured essays or essays, that you have to apply it, right? There will be separate marks added for the applying the formula. R square equals P square plus Q square එක apply කරනවට there will be separate marks added. So if you didn't do that, you will lose the marks, right? So in a essay or a structured essay, that you have to definitely put the equations, because like most of the marks are given for the equation. Like if we take like a equation, let's say මේ වගේ එකක, so the 3 marks are given for this, 3 marks are given for that. What's that? Right? So 3 marks are given for this, right? And 3 marks, like the 2 marks are given for the simplify, the middle part. And for the final mark, like the final answer with the units, like 1 marks given. For the, out of 6 marks, 3 marks are given for the application, for the formula. So essays and structured essays වලට එහෙම කරන්න බෑ. But when it comes to the MCQs, this is a good method, like remembering the the Pythagoras triplets. එතකොට ටක් ගාලා answer එකට යන්න පුළුවන්. වැඩි වෙලා යන්නේ. It's a good trick. But only for the MCQs. මේකේ මම අරගෙන පෙන්නන්නද බලන්න දැන් මේකේ angle එක ගන්න අපි දාන්න ඕන මොකද්ද tan theta angle එක කියන්නේ මොකද්ද angle එක කියලා කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ resultant force එක x axis එකත් එක්ක හදන angle එක resultant force එක මෙයානේ එයා x axis එකත් එක්ක හදන angle එකට අපි කියනවා මෙයාගේ direction එක කියලා. direction එක කියලා කියන්නේ අතරම resultant force එක x axis එකත් එක්ක හදන angle එකට which is let's take it as theta. theta හොයන්න පුළුවන් ලේසිම විදිය තමයි අපි මෙයාව triangle එකකට දාගන්න එක. මේක මෙතනට ගෙනලා තිබ්බනම් අපිට triangle එක හැදෙනවා. නේ? අපි කියනවා force triangle එක. force triangle එක හදාගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ force triangle එකේ tan theta කියලා කියන්නේ opposite over adjacent. So if I take it here, so this is P, no, this is Q. So the P becomes the opposite, Q becomes the adjacent. So tan theta is equals to Q over P. Now here the Q is what? 3 newtons and the P is 4 newtons. So tan theta equals 3 over 4 and the theta should equal to 3 over 4 tan inverse. Now this is enough. Now if you want to find the angle in degrees, what you should do is you simplify this value and there's tan inverse button in your calculator, you put it tan inverse, you get the angle in degrees. Degrees වලින් ඕන එහෙම ගන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම ඕනේ. එපතේ උඩින් මේක මේ angle එක. ඒ කියන්නේ direction එක කියලා කියන්නේ x axis එකත් එක්ක හදන angle එක. ඒ කියන්නේ resultant force එකේ angle එක. මේ angle එක දෙන්න පුළුවන්. හරිද? ඒ angle එක දුන්නොතින් ඔයාට ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ angle එක දැන් මේ වගේ එකකින් දෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ angle එක දීලා components වල divide කරන්න. අන්න ඒ වගේ තැන් වල දෙන්න පුළුවන්. sin cos දානකොට. ඒ අරින්න දෙන්නේ. කියන්නේ දීලා තේරුම්න්නේ divide කරනකොට තමයි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් angle එක දෙන්නේ. එතකොට අපිට ඒක පාවිච්චි කරලා divide කරගන්න පුළුවන් components වලට. That's a different case. Right. Got it? Yeah. Now the answer for the first question is this for the angle, right? Theta. Now for this, මේකට අපි tan theta දැම්මොත් කොහොමද එන්නේ? If we put tan theta here, tan theta should equal to Q over P. Now tell me, what is the theta here? If I take it as A, B, C, which one is theta? A, B or C? Which one is theta? A, because theta or the angle is the angle which the resultant force makes with the horizontal plane or the x axis, which is here. Now it's theta, right? So tan theta equals to Q over P. So that means here Q is what? 6 newtons and the P is 8 newtons. Now tan theta equals 6 over 8, which is 3 over 4, right? And theta should equal to what? 3 over 4 tan inverse, right? 3 over 4 tan inverse. It is the same answer. Why is it? Because two of these are the same multiplication of the same triplet of Pythagoras. You can 3, 4, 5 කියන්නේ එක Pythagoras triplet එකක්. එයාගේම 2 times multiplication එක තමයි 8, 6, 10 කියලා කියන්නේ. So it's the same. So and there's this theory that we discussed in the previous one, the area, volume and trigonometry, which is that the multiplication of the Pythagoras triplets should also be a Pythagoras triplet. Pythagoras triplet එක multiplication එක හැමතිස්සෙම Pythagoras triplet එකක් වෙනවා. Right? Now come to this part. Right. Now How do you find the tan theta here? I shall erase this for a second. Right? එතකොට මේකේ කොහොමද අපි θ හොයාගන්නේ? මොකද්ද මේකේ θ angle එක? Where's the direction of the resultant force here? කොතනින්ද එන්නේ? මෙතනින් නේද එන්න ඕන. මෙයානේ resultant force එක. x axis කියන්නේ මෙයානේ. එතකොට මෙයා තමයි θ. දැන් මෙයාට opposite adjacent මොකුත් නැහැ. So we should get this into the triangle. How do you do this? Now this z-like angles are equal, right? If the two of the lines are parallel, mean may angle equal. So this angle should also be theta. So මෙයාට opposite ඉන්නේ 9, adjacent ඉන්නේ 12. Now tan theta දැම්මොතින් tan theta equal opposite එක 9 Newton, adjacent එක 12 newtons. Now 3 times 9, 4 times. So that is again tan theta equals 3 over 4. And theta should be equal to 3 over 4 tan inverse. Got it? Nidhimatai? Who's saying Nidhimatai? Did someone say Nidhimatai? Nidhimatai? You ate too much. Now that's the trouble with the class after the lunch. Everybody is sleepy. Don't eat too much in the lunch, because if you have a class in the after the lunch, don't eat too much. Know the limits. Right? Now shall we come to the theory note? Right. Come to the theory note. Right. So this one equation is given when the two of the forces are like the three of the equations are there. We only studied only one now. Right. Ekai tama discuss kare, which is this one. Resultant force for 90 degrees of angle. Right. 90 degrees වලින් තියෙනකොට r square equals p square plus q square. මේක තමයි දැන් අපි පාවිච්චි කරේ. තව දෙකක් තියෙනවා පාවිච්චි කරන. අපි ඒක ඉස්සරහදී පාවිච්චි කරන්න කතා කරමු. හරි. So ඊට පස්සේ මේ තියෙන්නේ angle එක හොයන විදිය. අපි තාම කතා කරේ මෙයා විතරයි, මෙයාව කතා කරේ නෑ. ඒ කියන්නේ resultant force එකේ direction එක නැත්නම් angle එක හොයනකොට දාන්නේ tan alpha equals tan inverse q over p කියන equation එක නේ. අපි ඔය දෙක තමයි දැන් ගණන් හැදුවේ මෙච්චරලා. මේ if the forces are perpendicular, මේකෙන් තමයි අපි direction එක නැත්නම් angle එක හොයන්නේ resultant force එකේ. Right. Then come to the first exercise and do the first 5 questions. Even you can do 6. First 6 questions, can you do it really fast? Try to do it really fast. Come to the first. Right. Shiny and Isuka, just tell me when you are done with the questions. I'll roll up the page. Correct. covering the if they are under equilibrium, the forces in the x-axis and the y-axis should be equal, right? And the resultant should be 0. So yeah, Q is 5, P is 8. And they are asking for the resultant, no, right? Only the PQ forces. Fine. Fine. No trouble. What happened to the screen? So can you score fourth question? Done. Wait a second, brother. Fourth question. Fourth and fifth. Done? Yes. Tell.
මේකට මේ ෆෝස් එක මේ මුත් අදාළත්වයක් නෑනේ මේ F equal mu r දාන එක. parallel force එකක් act උනාට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑනේ.
ආන්නේ මොකක් ගැනද? A force of 10 Newton applied horizontally on an object of mass 15 kg. If the coefficient of limiting friction between the object and the plane is 0.1, then the frictional force acting on the object is.
The reaction force එක 150.
Hmm.
then mu එක 0.1. ඒ දෙක විතරයි නෝනේ මේ මෙතන.
Then friction එක කීයක් ආවද? mu r එකට.
mu r එකට 15 newton.
15 newtons. Now that is the static friction that can go up to maximum.
හා.
Now the applied force is 10 newtons,
හා.
right? So what happens in the static friction?
ඒ ඔබ්ජෙක්ට් එක move වෙන්න ඒ static friction එක ඕනේනේ. ඔබ්ජෙක්ට් එක move කරන්න.
Static frictions means the friction when the object doesn't move.
ඒ static friction එක දැන් 10 newton නම් ඒ 10 newton නැතුව ඔබ්ජෙක්ට් එක move වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලානේ කියන්නේ.
No. Static friction එක කියලා කියන්නේ object එක stationary තියෙනකොට තියෙන ඕන friction එක. Usually
ඒ කියන්නේ එතනින් above force එක දුන්නොත් ඔබ්ජෙක්ට් එක move වෙනවා.
නෑ limited friction limited friction එකට above දුන්නොත් තමයි move වෙන්නේ. ඒක limited friction එකක් දෙන්න එපා. ඒතර මේකේ static friction එක යන්න පුළුවන් maximum is 15. ඒතර 15 උත් පහු කරලා යන්න ඕන. ඒ කියන්නේ 15 පහු කරලා limited friction එකත් පහු කරලා යන්න ඕන. So in the static friction the friction always is equal to the force applied, because if you applied let's say 5 newtons and the object is stationary, that means the friction should also be 5 newtons, and if you increase it to 7 newtons and still the object is stationary, that means now the friction is 7. So now there's a maximum that can go in the static friction. So here it is 15, but the force that now applied is
10 newton.
so has it exceeded it, the maximum? No. Then the friction should be what? Should be the 10, yeah. Should be the force that is applied. Because like 15 කියන්නේ static friction එක නෙමෙයි. The maximum static friction that it can come.
ඒ කියන්නේ එතන 15 ඒ කියන්නේ 20 newton එකක් දුන්නොත් ඔබ්ජෙක්ට් එක move වෙනවා.
ඔව් එතකොට වෙනවා. Depends on the the limiting friction. Limiting friction එක එතකොට exceed වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒක තියෙන්නේ static friction එකකට පස්සේ උඩ value එක. ඒකත් exceed කරාන් පස්සේ තමයි move වෙන්නේ. Right, done? Done? Yeah. Good. Now tell me the answers. For the first one, the acceleration is what? Now these two forces are acting parallelly and towards the same direction, they should add together, right? 25, and this should deduct, then the resultant is 15 and mass is 5, so the acceleration should be 3 ms minus 2. And here all the others are same, only the mass has changed and the mass is now half, right? When all are constant, only the mass becomes half, what happens to the acceleration? It gets twice the size of the previous, right? So the previous was 3 ms minus, so now it should have much? 6 ms minus 2, right? The answer is 6 ms minus 2, which is the second answer. Then here, this is an equilibrium. We didn't discuss this so far, but can still answer the question. This is under an equilibrium. All the forces acting on an object are shown in figure. If the object is in an equilibrium, the magnitude of the P and Q. So if the system is in an equilibrium, the forces in the y-axis and the x-axis should be equal, right? And the resultant should be 0. which means the upward forces towards the downward forces should be equal. So upward force is 15, downward forces are 10 and q, so the q should be how much? 5, right? උඩයි පල්ලෙහායි equal වෙනවා q එක 5 වෙනවා. And the p should equal to 8. So p is 8, q is 5, answer is the first one, right? Answer is the first one. Then come to the fourth question. What does the fourth question say? As showing in the figure below, the magnitude and the angle of the resultant force of the 12 Newton and the 9 Newton forces acting perpendicular to each other is, right? Now the first thing is to find the resultant force. So how do you find the resultant force of this? You have to put Pythagoras, right? So if you put Pythagoras, r square equals p square plus q square, right? එතකොට කීයක් එනවද මෙයාගේ වැලියු එක r එක? p square plus q square. What is the value now? 15 newtons, right? මේක අපි මේ වගේක් හැදුවා කලින්, right? 15 newtons කියලා. Got it, right? And the angle is this. And how do you calculate it? Tan theta equals p over q. Now p is 9 newtons, q is 12 newtons. So 9 over 12 is what? 3 over 4. Is it 3 over 4? Or 4 over 3? 4 over 3, right? So what is the answer? 15 newtons, 4 over 3, tan inverse, right? The answer is 4. Got it? Now what about the fifth? As shown in the figure below, the magnitude and the tangent of the 8 Newton and 6 Newton forces acting perpendicular to each other are, right? Now the resultant should be this, right? So 8 square plus 6 square addition to the square root. What is it? 10, right? So the angle is again p over q, sorry, q over p. Q is 8, p is 6, so that's 4 over 3. So the answer is what? This one, right? Third answer. Yes. Right. Okay. Right. So only the first 5 questions. Now the next part, right? So 6th question, please. 6th question. I shall send you the tute that you just අපි tute එක මම පුතාට එවන්නම්. You do it at home, because you have to move forward for the next part, right? මේ ටික කරන්න මේ ටික පුළුවන්. අපි මේ ටික අපව discuss කරන් යන්නේ මීට. මේ ටික try කරන්න, right? You can do it still, right? පුළුවන් මේක කරන්න. Now come to the next part. This one. Force. Not orderly, the workbook. Yes. Right. Now come to this part, right? So now we are to discuss, like we discussed, when the forces are acting in a one plane, like either in horizontal plane or vertical plane. Then we discuss when the two of the forces are acting perpendicular to each other, right? Now we are discussing when the forces are acting in an acute angle, like less than 90 degrees. So can we use the same Pythagoras now when the forces are acting in an acute angle? No, right? We can't use any Pythagoras now because the angle is an acute angle, not a 90 degrees one. So what do you use now? There's a separate formula for that, right? There's a separate formula for that. What is the formula now? So the formula we use now is r square equals p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta, right? This is the formula we use, right? So think of the two forces, they are acting like this, right? They are acting like this. This is the p force, this is the q force, and this is the theta angle. Let's say it's 60 degrees or something. Hi. මම ගන්නම් p එක හිතන්න 10 newtons කියලා. Q එක මම ගන්නම් 20 newtons කියලා. හරිද? දැන් කොහොමද මේකේ resultant එක එන්නේ? That's the first thing. Right? Listen. Right? And the resultant goes in between the P and Q forces. එතකොට මෙන්න මෙහෙම යන්නේ. Right? මෙන්න මෙහෙම තමයි resultant force එක යන්නේ. අපි යාව හොයන්න දාන්න ඕන මෙන්න මේ equation එක. මොකද්ද? R square equals P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. So what is P square here? That is 10 square plus Q is 20 square plus 2 into 10 into 20 cos 60, right? Which is half, yes. So now you have to simplify this. 10 square is 100, 20 square is 400 plus 2 into 10 into 20 cos 60 is half, right? So if I simplify it here, cos 60 is half. So 2 to 2 cancels out here. And 10 into 20 is what? 200, right? 200. So what is the addition here? 100, 400, 200, which is 700. Now the R square should equal to 700. Now that we can convert this into surds, if you like take the roots correctly. How do you convert this into surds when taking the the root? We can write 700 as 7 into 100, 7 into 100, right? So R equals 7 into 100 and its square root, right? Now 100 has a square root but the 7 doesn't, right? So you write the answer as 10 root 7 newtons. Now this is in surds. This is the surds, right? So final answer is this. Because මෙතන cos 60ද cos 60 value එක දාන්නේ ආපු විදිහද? cos 60 cos 60 ආපු විදිහද? ඒ කියන්නේ මේ දැන් මේ complete මෙන්න මෙයා අලුත් එක්කනේ ඉන්නේ. ඒක අපි වෙනම තියරි එකකින් ගන්න පොතේ. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි ඔකට පාවිච්චි කරන then how I simplified it? Now cos 60 equals what? Half. That is one of the the trigonometric values. Then මෙතනද? It's like 10. Bro, it's okay. It's cos. Bro. That's cos. That's my fault, anyways. That is cos, right? So it's cos, right? Sorry. Now that's the difference of like one thing is there are two types, right? One is some writes on the board like very clearly. I now have like bit converted into it because of the the complaints of you people. Not the complaints, because like most of the teachers are like doing their handwritings really beautiful on the screen, or the whiteboard are getting really famous. That's one thing. But no, that's true, right? Because I'm doing something that I want to like get improved, right? So that is one thing that has happened, like the trend is there. But the trouble is what? It's not scientifically a good thing for the the making people understand when it comes to the studies. Why? People, like if the people are getting things really easy to their mind, that means that it doesn't remain in their mind. There's like theory, if something goes is a struggle, that's why I'm always asking you people to, when a question comes to you, you have to really struggle with it. Otherwise you won't understand. Without a struggle, without a pain, nothing will go to your brain. So some teachers, like some teachers who studied in, like if you check in the in the foreign countries with the professors and all the lecturers there, They don't write it really beautiful. Huh? So they write it like the that's how they do it. So the thing is what, even the doctors, yes. The thing is what? That when you write it like that, right? When you write it like that, you have to have the focus. You will keep the focus there because you know if you didn't focus, you will miss it. So you are not losing the focus, because if you lose the focus, you will miss the theory. Right? So if I write it really beautiful, you'll forget that this can be understood, no? Can be seen. Even if I took a photo and if I go home, then I can like take it to the understanding. But when you know when the writings are not really clear, that you will like keep the focus on the board and try to understand what is trying to tell. So that is one of the the methods doing it. But I wasn't like, I was wanting to do it that way, but I left it because the people who are getting famous are doing it really clear and really nice. So I want to do it that way, but I'm getting there, right? I mean, still improving, so some sort of mistakes are there, right? So you anyway got the answer correct now? So you got this one? Yeah. Okay. Right. Now come to the workbook. Now do these 1, 2, 3 questions first. Right? First 3 questions. Do the first one first. And if you can, Shiny, just tell me when you're done. I'll roll up the page. Done. Have a calculator, that's fine, because you can use the calculator in the exams as well. In the the A-level exam, you can use the calculator. You can use the calculator if you want. First question done? Ah, yes. Come to second two questions. 4 newtons and 5 newtons acting in a 45 degrees of angle. So asking about. Done with the second question as well? No, not yet. Try it. Oh, the guy is not working. Which one? The mobile phones one? Can happen. If you want the trig values, just ask me. Like cos 45 is 1 over root 2. 1 over root 2. Can you remember? 1 over root 2. Yes, cos 45. Finish? Not yet, right? Still working. 7. Bro, that much? Oh, calmly.
This is why we have a normal scale I have at home, but I don't bring it.
Now bring it. Now, like, it's fine if you can. Ah, can borrow the cal. Now, tell. Yes.
Force of 8 Newton is applied to an object of 2 mass.
Yeah.
The coefficient of friction 0.2 and its acceleration.
How the object is.
Oh,
Consider the acceleration due to gravity as g.
F equal mu r දාලා ඒකේ friction force එක ගන්නද?
Even that case the figure is missing, right?
ඔව් මම නම් මෙහෙම ගත්තා හරිද? මෙහෙම ගන්නේ. මෙහෙම 2 kg object එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒකේ මෙහෙම නිව්ටන් එකක් එනවා.
Done. Cut. Don't throw it. Finish. All 4. 3 questions. 3 questions, right? Finish. You're done, right? Finish. Then come. So this question. What is the equation? R square equals P square plus Q square plus 2pq cos theta, right? So what is p square here? 5 square plus 4 square plus 2 into 5 into 4 cos 60. No, cos 45, right? Cos 45. So 5 square is 20, 5 plus 4 square is 16 plus. I have to simplify this part like separately. Yeah? Some people like they add the 16 to this 2 or 5 or 4 or something, they do it like that. You can do it like that. You have to simplify the whole thing at once and add it to this part. So here what you get, like 2 into 5 is 10, 10 into 4 is 40, 40 cos 45, right? So cos 45 is 1 over root 2. So 1 over root 2 into 40 is 40 over root 2, right? 40 over root 2. So you have to, can you add like 25, 16 and 40? Can you add 25, 16 and 40? You can't, right? So what you have to do is, you take this addition here is how much? 25 plus 16 is 31, 41 plus 40 over root 2. And if we convert this into a proper fraction, how do you do it? How do you convert this into a proper fraction? You multiply this by 41 and you add it to the 40. So how do you get it? මෙයාගේ multiply කරාම 41 root 2 plus 40 divided by root 2 will be the final fraction if you take it in fractions. Not the final answer. Make a root cos එකනේ. Make r square එකනේ. So the final answer should be the complete root of this. Complete root එක. මේකේ. value එකෙන් ගත්තොත් කීයද ආවේ? value එකෙන් ගත්තොත් කීයද value එක? කැලේ ගහලා බලන්න value එක කීයද ඉන්නේ? 3.60. Calculate. Now come to this one. There is another one up here, right? Hari, make a balu. Make a ban kohoma denni kiyala. R square equals P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos 60, right? Cos 60. Now P square is 2 square plus Q square is 3 square plus 2 into 3 cos 60 is there. So 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9 plus, what do you get here? 2 into 2 is 4, 4 into 3 is 12 and cos 60 is half, so it's 6. So 6 plus 4 is 10, 10 plus 9 is 19. Does 19 can be divided into surds? Can't, right? Doesn't have any factors there. So root 19 is the final answer, newtons. Root 19. Right? It's root 19. Come to the final one. This one, right? So it's again the same. R square equals P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos 60 here. Now P square is 4 square plus 2 square plus 2 into 4 into 2 into cos 60 or half. Now this is cos 60, right? So R square is 16 plus 2 square is 4. Now if you multiply the whole thing, 2 into 4 is 8, 8 into 2 is 16, 16 divided by 2 is 8. So the final answer is 28 root, right? Can the 28 divided into a root, a surd? Can, right? 7 into 4. So this can be written as 7 into 4, the complete root of it, right? So what is the final answer then? R equals 2 root 7 newtons. Correct? Right. So this is how you simplify, you find the answer for the resultant force when the two forces are acting in an acute angle, right? When it's less than 90 degrees, right? So when it's in 90 degrees, we put R square equals P square plus Q square, right? So the next thing that you should learn is the angle of the resultant when these two forces are in an acute angle. The මේකේ මේ forces දෙක acute angle එකකින් act කරනකොට අපි මේකේ direction එක හොයාගන්න වෙන equation එකක් තමයි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. දැන් කලින් එකේ වගේ නෙමෙයි දැන් මේකේ direction එක එන්නේ අනිත් එක. හරි. බලන්න කොහොමද direction එක එන්නේ කියලා. දැන් කලින් නම් මේක 90 degrees වලින් තිබ්බේ. එතකොට මෙහෙම resultant force එක ගියා එතන angle එක විතරයි අපි ගත්තේ. දැන් මෙතන මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? 90 degrees වලින් නෙමෙයි තියෙන්නේ. 60 degrees වලින් තියෙන්නේ දැන්. මෙහෙම යනවා force එක resultant force එක. එතකොට resultant force එකේ direction එක කියලා කියන්නේ මෙයා මෙන්න මේ p එක හදන මෙන්න මේ angle එකනේ. මෙයා තමයි ඇත්තටම අපිට resultant force එකේ direction එක විදිහට ගන්න වෙන්නේ. We can call it as alpha. So how do you calculate alpha? Can we use the tan theta equals q over p now? Can you use it? Can you use tan theta equals q over p? Can't, right? මේක අපිට දැන් tan theta equals q over p දාන්න බෑ. ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට මොකක් හරි එකක් හදා ගන්න වෙනවා. For that you should know you can divide any of the force into two perpendicular components. හරි. ඕනම force එකක් ඔයාට perpendicular components දෙකකට divide කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි consider කරනවා ඕනම force එකක් එයාට perpendicularly act කරපු components දෙකකින් හැදුණයි කියලා. අපි අර කතා කරේ දැන් perpendicular components දෙකකින් resultant force එක හැදෙනවා. එහෙම consider කරලා අපිට ඒ force එක perpendicular components දෙකකට divide කරලා දාන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ මේකෙදී මෙන්න මේ Q කියන component එක මට ඕන වෙනවා perpendicular components දෙකකට divide කරලා අයින් කරන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ මම මෙයාව consider කරනවා perpendicularly act කරපු forces දෙකක resultant එක කියලා. දැන් මට ඕන resultant එක නෙමෙයි, ඒ කියන්නේ මෙයාව නෙමෙයි, මෙයාගේ perpendicular forces දෙක. අන්න ඒක හොයන්න තමයි අපි try කරන්නේ. හරි. So ඒකට method එකක් තියෙනවා. I will not discuss the method. මේකෙදි මම formula එක විතරක් ගන්නම්. හරි. ඊට පස්සේ අපි වීඩියෝ එකක් බලමු. ඊට පස්සේ අපි formula එක ගැන කතා කරමු. හරි. දැන් බලන්න මෙහෙමනේ දැන් forces දෙක තියෙන්නේ. මෙන්න මේ විදිහට තමයි forces දෙක තියෙන්නේ. මෙතන angle එක 60 degrees. හරි. දැන් මෙයා P මෙයා Q. අපිට ඕන මේ Q කියන force එක මෙයාගේ vertical axis එකේ තියෙන Fy ටයි horizontal axis එකේ ඉන්න Fx ටයි divide කරලා දාන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි consider කරනවා Q කියලා කියන්නේ මේ Fy ගේ Fx ගේ resultant එක කියලා. So instead of Q that we can use Fy and Fx. When you do that, there's a simple method of doing that. මේක divide කරනකොට මේ Q වල angle එක නැති පැත්තට එනවා නම් you consider it as sin theta. මේක angle එක පැත්තට එනවා නම් cos theta කියලා consider කරන්න. හරි. consider කරලා මෙන්න මෙහෙමයි ගන්න. Q වල sin theta equals to Fy. Q වල cos theta equals to Fx. එහෙම කියලා සලකන්න. Yes. Then මේ Q එක we are going to divide into two perpendicular components. හරි. ඒ කියන්නේ අර අපි resultant force එක කියන්නේ perpendicular forces දෙක. ඒතර ඒ perpendicular forces දෙක කියන්නේ resultant එකනේ. ඒ හින්දා මේක resultant එක මෙයා නම් එයා වෙනුවට මට perpendicular forces දෙක ගන්න පුළුවන්. So I am going to divide this force into two perpendicular components. Instead of Q, I am going to use that two perpendicular components which are Fy and Fx. එහෙම divide කරන method එකක් තියෙනවා. අපි ඒක ඊට පස්සේ කතා කරමු. එහෙම divide කරනකොට ඔයා simply use කරන්න මෙන්න මෙහෙම එකක්. Q එක ඔයා angle එක පැත්තට තියෙන component එක ගන්නවනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් මේක මේ Fx තියෙන angle එක පැත්තේනේ. ඒ පැත්තේ component එක ගන්නවා නම් Q ගේ cos theta කියලා ගන්න. මේ angle එක නැති. දැන් මෙතන angle එක තියෙන මෙතන angle එක නැහැනේ. angle එක නැති පැත්තට ගන්නවා නම් Q sin theta කියලා ගන්න. හරි. Simple as that. So Q sin theta comes here. Q cos theta comes here. Get it? Right? දැන් මේ P එකත් එක්ක Q cos theta මොනවා වෙන්න ඕනද? P එක කියලා කියන්නේ කලින් තිබ්බ force එකනේ. මෙන්න මෙයාගේ දැන් මේ forces දෙකේ මෙයාව අපි components දෙකකට කඩා ගත්තා. කඩලා එයාව අයින් කරා. But the P is already there. So මේ දෙක මොනවා වෙනවද? add වෙනවා. මොකද they are towards the same direction, so they add together, right? මෙන්න මේ force එකේ මම මේ පැත්තට තියෙන component එකකටයි මේ පැත්තට තියෙන component එකකටයි divide කරේ. ඒ කියන්නේ යාගේ forces දෙක මම ගත්තා. perpendicular තියෙන forces දෙක ගත්තා. resultant එක වෙනුවට. දැන් එතකොට මේ පැත්තට තියෙනවා P cos theta. මේ පැත්තට තියෙනවා මොකද්ද? Q sin theta. ඒතර අපි ඒක වෙනම ඇඳුවොත් it will be something like this. මෙහෙට තියෙන්නේ P නෙමෙයි Q sin theta. මෙහෙට තියෙන්නේ P Q cos theta. දැන් අපිට බැයිද angle එක හොයන්න? දැන් හොයන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් ඒතකොට resultant එක මේකම තමයි. හරි. resultant එක ඕකම තමයි. ඒතකොට angle එක තියෙන්නේ මෙන්න මෙයා alpha. හරි. alpha. දැන් එහෙනම් alpha හොයන්න පුළුවන් අර විදිහට කොහොමද? tan alpha හොයන විදිහටම. tan alpha සමාන වෙන්නේ මේක කීයටද දැන්? මේ පැත්තට ගත්තාම opposite එකේ ඉන්නේ Q sin theta should divide by the adjacent, which is P plus, yeah, P plus Q cos theta. P plus Q cos theta. Now this is the formula to find the angle of the resultant force when the two of the forces are acting in an acute angle. Right? Acute angle එක තියෙනකොට resultant force එකේ angle එක හොයන්නේ tan alpha equals q sin theta plus q sin theta over p plus q cos theta. Come to the workbook. මෙන්න මේ set එකේම can you try to find the tan alpha as well? ඒක වෙනම කොලයක හදන්න sticky note එකක් තමයි ඔකට හරියන්නේ. sticky note එකක් ඔතන දාන්න කොලයක හදන්න. tan alpha ටික හොයන්න බලන්න ටක් ගාලා. මේක ටක් ටක් ගාලා දෙන්න මකල. Can you like erase this at once? Can't ne? Can't. Then come to the formula. This one. Right, then the theory tube. Come to the first page. Alpha equals tan inverse. It's there. Right, so all the theories we discussed are there in the theory tube. And now once this is done, like go through the orderlytude, and even in the theorytude there are questions, like cover all the questions and the orderly as well. Orderly kai theorytude එකේ තියෙන questions ටික ඔක්කොම ටික cover කරන්න. Right. දෙකක වගේ ඇන්ගල් හොයනකොට ඉතුරු එකක් B ඉලෙද්දි කරමු. මේ ෆස්ට් එකයි සෙකන්ඩ් එකේ ඇන්ගල් එක හොයන්න. ෆස්ට් එකේ හොයන්නකො. listen. Hey, bro, what are you doing? Yeah. Can't. See. I'll do it. Right, now check how you do it. So now here, listen, the resultant force should go somewhere in between the two of the forces, so it should be like this, right? And the angle here should be alpha, right? And we are going to find the alpha value. Now he's there. This guy is here. Right? So how you find the alpha? Now tan alpha is equal to q sine theta, right, over p plus q cos theta, right? So how do you do the simplifying? Q sine theta is 2 sine 60, right? 2 sine 60. Divide by P is 2 newtons plus 2. So this one should be 3, right? Q is 3, no? Should be 3. 3 sine 60, 2 plus 3 cos 60. Cos 60. Right. So this should be simplified, right? Now tell me what is sine 60? Sine 60 is root 3 over 2. Sine 60 is root 3 over 2. So multiplied by 3 root 3 over 2 should be divided by what? 2 plus q cos 60 is what? Half. So 3 into half is 3 over 2. Right? So you have to convert this into a proper fraction. You multiply this by 2, add it to the 3. So what do you get? 4, 3 is 7, right? So then 3 root 3 over 2 divide by 7 over 2. Now there are two divisions here. Can you see that? 7, like 2 divided by 7 divided by 2. Now what happens to this 2? It should go up, right? Like this. Because these two reciprocal, right? When they are two, like this is divided by this, they should reciprocal. That means like simply we'll take it as this goes up. So make a multiply karna deking. So what happens? 2 to 2 cancels out. So what is left here? It's only left 3 root 3 over 7 is left. And tan inverse of this is equal to the tan alpha. Right? Right? So, right, done. Got the answer or no? No. Fine, that's fine. Now, get through all the questions in the, this orderlytude and even in the theorytude. Theorytude questions set එක. ඒ දෙකේම තියෙන questions follow කරන්න. workbook එකේ එතනින් පල්ලෙහාට කරන්න බෑ. So leave it there. We'll discuss the next week from the when there's an obtuse angle, how do you get the resultant force, and the the breaking down into components. And next week we'll be watching a video. And ගෙදරදී ඕනනම් videos ටික go through කරලා ඉන්න force වල videos ඇති YouTube එකේ මම දාලා ඒක ටිකක් go through කරලා ඉන්න. එකකින් idea එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. Breaking into components කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා. Right. So okay. Now Isuka is even joining the next class online. Is Isuka? Then. Okay. Isuka fine. Isuka leda. Isuka is having something. Isuka kawud leda dala din. Okay, then you guys can leave. Like 5:30 we'll start the next class. Huh?